Right. Good morning, everyone. My name's Joe Broon, and welcome to the Housing Digital Micro Conference on enhancing human potential with AI, a new era for housing associations. My name's Joe Broon. I'm the Managing Director of Housing Digital, and I'm today's host of this online event. We're looking at AI and how transformative that is right across society at the moment, and housing being no exception. In today's environment of tight budgets, rising customer expectations, and increasing regulatory complexity, housing associations must achieve more with less. This event will explore how artificial intelligence, data, and automation are becoming essential tools to streamline operations, support tenants, and scale services without proportionally increasing headcounts. We'll showcase real-world examples of how housing providers are using AI to cleanse data, predict trends, and reduce manual workflows. We're going to move on to our third and final keynote, which is Kieran Poynton. Kieran is the Director of Data and Analytics at Bromford Housing. His presentation today is titled The Data Strategy Paradox, Long-Term Vision, Immediate Value. Over to you, Kieran.
Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to share my screen. So yeah, thank you so much for the intro. I've only been in housing for just over 2.5 years, so I'm still learning. It's a really interesting sector to work in, and it's really nice that we can have such a positive impact through data and through technology as well. So I'm going to talk about long-term vision and immediate value, basically data strategy paradox. This is us. So as of January this year, we merged and again with Live West. So I'm actually responsible for Bromford flagship and soon to be Live West as well from a data analytics point of view. We have just over 120,000 homes now that we look after. So obviously, we're not a 40,000 home housing association anymore like we were with Bromford. The way that we have to scale and the way that we have to look at our processes, they have to be data enabled. Otherwise, it just won't scale. So most data strategies fail, and they fail because of two reasons. One, they're too strategic. So I've seen this many times in my career. There's just no delivery. It's a big bang over time. We need 2 years, 3 years. When's that report coming? When can I get new analytics? When can I get new insights? You need to wait, get it in the back of the line. Obviously, the big word today was trust, and I really believe that's the most important thing that you can ever have, especially within data analytics anyway. Or you're too tactical. So some people can come in new to the role, you come in, you do loads of great things, and if you walk away quick enough, great, you can take that as a pat on the back. If you're too tactical, you'll end up with a patchwork system. And when data analytics is an absolute nightmare to unpick all of that, you'll end up with logic in different areas, different business owners owning different data, and it just becomes an absolute nightmare. There is a third option. The third option is a hybrid model, which is enterprise thinking, but focus on use cases. So what I mean is you've got to get the whole data team behind you for the vision to say, this is where we're going in the future. This is what the platform is going to allow you to do. This is what the capabilities are going to be at in the organization. At the same time as building that trust with the teams on the ground, one-on-one with them, and building use cases and trying to get the understanding of how can data and analytics help each team along the way. Keys to having these conversations. Number one is relationship building. I wouldn't be able to do my job if I wasn't able to build really good relationships with people. I like to get to know people on a personal level, and you need to be able to do this with your stakeholders. Otherwise, you will fail, guarantee. Under promise and over deliver always. It's easier said than done in data analytics, really, and in with technology and with AI and things like that now. I think the expectation is you can always do more, but actually doing the things right and doing them in a scalable way so they're modular and scalable in the future is the right way. Always over deliver, obviously. Communications are key. Make sure you keep people up to date. So if you do the strategic thinking and say in 2 years you'll have everything and no one hears from you until that date, it's not a very good way of working. So make sure you're communicating all the way. Make sure people know what you're working on. Even if it is strategic, you've still got to keep the business running and ticking. You need to build trust to build value. You won't build value without trust. Trust from your stakeholders is absolute key. It's been talked about a lot today. Logical thinking will never beat emotional thinking. So also been mentioned a few times today, and linked with emotional intelligence at the bottom. So data and analytics people and technology people are quite often logical thinkers. We'll be given a problem and we can solve that problem because that's what we're used to. That's how we're wired usually within data teams. But if you come at a business stakeholder with a logical way of thinking and they're reacting to you emotionally, you'll never win. You can't do that. You need to get to them on an emotional level and then break that down and then eventually get them to work on a logical way of working. I work with loads of my team members and I have to coach them through this. They just go into a meeting and say, I can't understand why that team won't use my new data model or new data product. They won't use it because they're scared of it, or they won't use it because they've got a different political agenda, or they won't use it because they don't want to use it yet and they want to do it in 5 years. There's so many reasons for it. Your logical way of thinking is never perfect. So, one sec. So, we've got data vision to place data at the center of our and customers' decision making so that people can thrive. On the left, you'll see the technology angle, which is you've got raw data, we've got all our technology, all of our processes, and on the right-hand side, you'll see the customers and colleagues and needs and outcomes. Really, we've got to meet in the middle. You've got all this technology capability, and you've got all these people that want stuff, but they don't typically know what they need, and they don't know what's available. That's our job. We are salesmen, saleswomen. We need to go out there and we need to sell our products to the business who want to engage with our products. And at the bottom, I'm just talking about data alone is worthless. If the business can't interpret the data, it's great that you build dashboards and dashboards and dashboards. If they're not used, that's bad from a budget point of view. It's bad from a data team motivation point of view as well, because they're building products that no one wants and no one's using. That's a really bad position to be in. So you avoid that by looking at the business lens, not just the data lens. Just because you can build it doesn't mean you should. So strategic thinking enterprise. So this is our analytical framework. This is what we're working to at the moment. Right now, we are working on the data platform area of the right-hand side. But really what we're talking about is we collect data. We then take it through a data governance framework where we identify it, we store it, we provision it, we process it, we govern it. And then we provide it into different platforms and then provide different ways of consuming that data. In the end, as all BI is, business intelligence, the right data at the right time to the right person to inform the right decision to support our customers to thrive. That's what we want to do. We need to provide the right data. It needs to be the right quality. It needs to be readable. It needs to be understandable. It needs to be consumable. And that's not just by one person. That's not by the techies in my team. That is by all our colleagues and eventually our customers as well, because I'm sure we'll be building products for our customers in the future. Also been called out today. We're not data driven. We're data informed. So we do the same. So everything that we build has to have a human in the loop to make sure that we don't just AI everything away. AI is really great at logical stuff. It is terrible at emotional stuff. And again, if you've got a customer who's emotional, they're not going to listen to a logical AI. Maturity. This is how we identified our maturity from a strategic way of working as well. So we identified that some teams are still relying on PowerPoint and Excel. This was actually done a year and a half ago. So now we're actually further up this curve, but I haven't done the actual maturity assessment again, just to cover it. So we provided some teams with data. They went into analysis paralysis. They just had too much data, too complex, don't understand what you're giving me anymore. Here's a LLM, here's a data science product, here's advanced analytics. They just got lost. So we now need to build value through data storytelling and again, strategic lens. This is how we break it down from a focus on, again, strategic thinking, but you can also take this into the tactical way of working and thinking as well, is we want to focus on anything that's legal and regulatory is obviously you've got to do it. No questions. Policies, again, there's certain elements that you have to do, certain elements that you can do. Service standards the same, process and compliance the same. What we're saying is that just because you want something doesn't mean it gets built first. What we need to do is make sure we stand on the legal and regulatory side of it, and all the other stuff we can build later at a later date. So on the left is kind of so this is domain driven design, DDD some people call it. This is 4Ds because it's data domain driven design. I'm glad I said that first time. On the left, you've got the now. So all teams will come to us and say, hey, I want a dashboard. Well, they're not aligned to another team that's sat next to them. We don't want that. You can't build a strategic way of working. You can't build a platform that enables that. But you can do it if you do domain-driven design. So you focus around products, customers, assets, colleagues. You take those domains and then you build the products around the domain. So on the left is the kind of the tactical way of working, which is just give that team something that they need right now to manage something that's legal and regulatory. And on the right hand side is the future strategic vision, which is let's build things in a data-driven design and product way of working. So that's where we want to move to. We're not quite there yet, but that's where we want to move to with our new data platform. This also goes into the capability split. So if you're centralizing stuff, it's kind of more of a tactical thing because you can grab it quite quickly. You can do something with it. But if you want to scale data analytics across an organization, you have to think of a decentralized model as well. So here I've just got a few capabilities that are lined out to say that, yes, we're centralizing a lot of this, but actually we need to decentralize a lot as well. Again, strategic thinking. So what we're doing, we are Bromford Flagship Live West. We are now BFL. So what we're going to do is going to create a data lake house. We're going to stick a reporting platform over the top of it, and we're going to just drag data out of the gold layer of the 3 legacy organizations into the new layer. That is our tactical delivery. That will give enterprise reporting across all 3 legacy organizations, and then obviously as a combined organization as well. It's not going to be easy, but that's what we want to do. That will enable the business to run as a single business. Now that we are BFL, we also have to report as a single entity, which means from a reporting point of view, the numbers have to be connected. Then what we're going to do is the strategic way. So what we're going to do is we're going to enable the business so that they get all their reporting. And then at the same time, we're going to go back and say, strategically, what do we need to do? Well, to do this properly, we kind of need to get rid of all the legacy platforms because they're costing us 3 times the amount for a single platform at the moment. But you can't do that overnight. That needs a strategic way of working. So we'll do the tactical, which is drag the data out, give visibility. And then from a strategic point of view, we'll pull the data out from the source systems and then push it through the data platform as it should be. That's just, if we just did the tactical, you've got the blue line. If we just did the strategic, you've got the blue line. That's probably 2 years worth of work. If you do the green one, maybe a year. So we enable the business within a year, but then within 2 years, we'll enable the strategic lens as well. And then we can start to decommission all the old legacy reporting and legacy platforms as well. So this is kind of, what I call it, this is cowboy mode, a cowgirl mode. So this is spurs on. We've just got to get it done. We've got to pull the data out, and we've got to work on it. And then this is the kind of perfect world, really. This is the strategic way of working. You can do the top left, but it's very dangerous if you get it wrong. It's better to do the cowgirl first, and then focus on the strategic way of working in the future. I think I might already be close to my time. If I am, just shout at me. I'm just going to talk very quickly about tactical thinking as well. So right now we're on, so these are use cases that we could build. Right now, loads of teams are worried about what happened yesterday. That kind of works when you're a certain size. If you scale, that just doesn't work anymore because there's too much data. You need to focus on it. So on the right-hand side, you can see the sort of things we're looking into building at the moment. Yep. And then what we've done is we've built some data science products as well. So whilst we're defining what does the overall data landscape look like and what does the whole data ecosystem look like, we'll just build some separate data science products. I have a data science manager and a data scientist. I have a team of 2, and they've built all this and a lot more that I can't show today. We've just got 2 people. So my team is 30 people. They're focusing on the strategic. And I've got a couple of people who are just doing data science use cases and going after the best benefits. So we take all this data and we try and end up with a desired outcome. So we've got natural language processing to identify customers that may be unhappy before they raise a complaint, something that was talked about today. Pipeline of talent, we're identifying postcodes of customers that are looking for educational work so we can have conversations with employees in the area or then hold job fairs and things like that. We've got CDM and arrears prediction models, as everyone has probably. We're focusing on agile working. So within a place-based initiative, we're looking to do place-based way of working, which is kind of like taking an agile way of working in technology to the housing sector. And then we've got homes as pathways. So understanding customers' journeys. When do they typically need a bigger property and then a smaller property and then a property with aids and adaptations as well. So we're trying to understand that. If we just take the top one, We've started to look into this natural language processing to identify customers and may be unhappy before they raise a complaint. So we've got all the people that raise a complaint. Great. It's not good, but we know it's there. We need to deal with it. What we want to do is identify people that might raise a complaint. So that's what we ended up with. We went to the business and said, we can do this. We think it's really great. And then we came to the conclusion, a bit like I think Oliver was talking about this as well. It's a service failure. So it's not the customer's fault that they're raising a complaint. It's actually our fault that we've failed them with our service. So then what we want to do is get the business to own up to it and say, well, in our area, that was our fault. We're sorry. How do we avoid doing it again? And then you want to scale that. So what you don't want to do is just have, and this is what we've done in the past, we just have a complaints team. And the more complaints we get, the bigger the team gets. It's just not a good way of working. A scalable way of working is identifying why these complaints are coming in and trying to identify and trying to avoid it. If you can shift the budget that you're paying out on complaints because of compensation, and then use that to fix the problems from the service failure, you've got a net off. There's no cost there. It's a benefit for the customer and it's a benefit for us as well. So the future, we're going segmentation. So talked about again segmentation today. We're looking at home segmentation, customer segmentation, and place segmentation. And then the ideal is that we get the right customer in the right home in the right place. Just because the customer's in the right home, if they're not in the right place, they haven't got the community that they want or they need. That's not the best outcome for them. We want people to thrive. So we see these 3 pillars as being really important. And this is, I've just got 2 quick slides left and then I'll be quiet. So customer 360, this is what we're working on at the moment. All those numbers are data points within those data sets. So in ASB, we've got 11 different data points that we can feed into a data science model or use for segmentation or predictive analysis. Top right, you can see home, place, customer. That's what we want to focus on. And in the future, we want to build segmentation across everything. So we want neighborhood segmentation. We want to understand which of the contractors are best and which suppliers are best and which ones might we want to renegotiate with. And then obviously home segmentation, colleague segmentation, looking at the skills colleagues have. Can we distribute skills differently? Do people need training up on certain things and all that kind of stuff? So that's all segmentation. And then I'll just leave you with this. So use data and technology teams as strategic enablers. Use data science to drive a proactive culture. Start small. So do tactical, but think strategic. Work directly with your customers' DPO to ensure value-driven outcomes. Don't just do stuff because you want to or someone's asking you to do it. You need to check the benefits of that. Focus on legitimate benefits for both customers and organization. And I've left the Z in there, apologies. Like it says, if you do that, it's a lot easier from not only is it easier from a GDPR point of view, but it's a lot easier from a motivation point of view for the teams as well. You're doing what's right for the customers and what's right for the organization. And use AI responsibly. I think the biggest problem everyone's going to have on this call is AI orchestration. So just because an AI tool can do something, a bit like the airport chatbot, just because it can do something doesn't mean it should be doing something. You need to focus on what capabilities each AI model and each tool should be able to focus on. You have to be really careful with that. I think AI orchestration is going to be the biggest problem in the future, and you need the governance and controls to make sure you can deal with it. That's it. I hope that was okay. Any questions?
Spot on. Thank you, Kieran. We have got some questions on the chat. Lucy, I'll come to your question towards the end, so I'll put it across the panel. But I'll come to Anna McWatters, Head of Data at Citizen first. Anna's on the chat says, really enjoying your data science use cases, really forward thinking. How have you implemented these into production environments?
So they are not yet 100% productionized. We've done the selling piece, so we've been around to all the teams. We've got a really big number that we can save from if we fix all of these problems, there's a big benefit number at the end, which we've worked out to the penny to make sure we get the buy-in. At the moment, it's running on small scale, so we're building the data platform at the same time. We've just got the budget approved, which was on Monday, and now we're going to go ahead and build it. So the data science models that are running at the moment are actually on a separate instance, and they're not yet productionized, but the data that's coming out of them is used for benefits at the moment anyway. So short answer to that is it's not on the production system just yet, but the data is being used by the business to identify where we've got service failures.
Okay. Thank you, Kieran. We've got a raised hand from Andy Rafferty, who's the Interim IT Director at Live Housing Group.
Hi, thanks for that. I think my camera's not on, so you won't have the benefit of being able to see me, which is a debatable benefit at the best of times. It's a question for Kieran on that last presentation, and incredibly impressive. Obviously, with a company of your size and a team of 30, you can be very ambitious and very bold, and you can try new things, and that's great. One thing I didn't see in there, maybe this is, I'd be interested in your view on it, is how you will be utilizing any of the BI-based tools for your consumers to create their own insights and their own MI and their own BI. Whilst I was thinking of the question, I remember a few years ago there was a lot of talk about citizen developers taking low-code solutions, and we'd have engaged colleagues who were doing a lot of their own work without support, and it would change the shift of what the data and digital IT team were for. I don't think I see that landed very often. Do do you see that, how that's going to change what your function is, or do you think you'll still be relied on, or can you get that data for me?
Great question. It's not in there. I actually took the slide out that talks about that. So we do want to go to citizen development. We are building the data platform right now, and the data platform will enable self-service analytics. Right now, we've got three different legacy organizations and three different legacy data platforms. The amount of knowledge you need to write the right query that will give you the right data is just far too much. It's not consumable enough, and it's not easy enough to use. So for example, if you looked at our assets data, you'd have to know you have to take garages out of assets. So if you just looked at the age of our properties, you would assume that the age of the properties average age is that number, but actually that includes garages as well. You have to be really careful with certain data sets. So the new platform will allow us to do it. So we're being really careful with building what we're going to build, which is an enterprise data model across the organization. Um, my team started off as three people. So 2 years ago it was three, and now because of the mergers and scaling, we've actually been able to get a lot more people and a lot more capability into the team, which is really helpful. But even when we had three people, we were still organically going around and saying, do you want to build a BI dashboard? What are your skills and capabilities? We'll give you a bit of training. We'll give you a bit of help. And why don't you join our stand-ups and listen to us? So we actively created a data community, which we is not just us. It's not just us techie people. It's also us trying to upskill the business into what it means to be data-driven and data-informed as well. So great question. I'm a massive advocate for it. You can't scale BI without allowing citizen development and self-service analytics. It's just it requires a massive amount of maturity in your foundations and in your governance and controls to enable it. We're not there yet, but I've told the business within a year we need to be there.
Brilliant. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Andy. Kind of leads nicely when you mentioned a year there into Beverly King's question. Beverly King is the VP of Client Partnerships at Alto Vita. Beverly asks, well, first of all, she says, super presentation, thank you. How long do you think it will take to finalize your vision, and how do you anticipate adapting as tech evolves continuously along the journey?
So I'm a massive advocate for being modular and trying not to use vendor lock-in. So everything that we do is open source as much as we can. So we all store data in formats that are more open source. We don't want to be tied. At the moment, we are Microsoft enabled by Microsoft, but if that changes overnight, which I don't know, it could in the future, we want to make sure that everything that we build is modular so we can just lift and shift it off. So what we do is we build a code base in a completely separate tool and technology that will allow us to shift it across. So that means that we can be quite dynamic, and then we can also chop and change with future economic trends and things like that. Data analytics is always moving. Obviously, with data science, it's always moving. To build the best platform. So what I usually do is I build data analytics platforms that last for about 10 years. So it will take about a year and a half to build it, and then that will last for 10 years. And then there's a certain amount of refactoring that will happen every quarter. But then after the 10 years, you basically realize that the business has changed so much that you just need to rip it up and start again and rebuild your models, data models, and then start again. So that's what we're going to try to do. So my vision is for 10 years. I tell my team everything that we build needs to be scalable for the next 10 years, and it will have to also scale to 10x the company, just in case it happens. We don't know if it will. I'd hope not at this point. We've got two mergers to deal with already. But you never know what's going to happen in the future. So build things that are scalable, build things that are modular. and use technology and AI to your advantage.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks, Kieran. Any more questions for Kieran before we move on? We've got a question from Lucy Reynolds, which Lucy makes a really valid point, and I think I'm going to put this right across the panel. Lucy Reynolds is the Assistant Director Support at Cody. Lucy says, a lot of speakers today have spoken about the need to ensure good governance before use of AI is used more widely around the business. What has the approach been where staff are using the off-the-shelf or personal AI tools like ChatGPT for work purposes? Come to Kieran first on this one.
So we have AI usage governance policies. So people have to buy into that. I think it comes with a lot of training and a lot of communication to say what we have Copilot. You can ask inside Copilot business questions. You can copy data in if you want, because it's all privatized. It's our Copilot. That isn't the same for everything else. And what we're trying to get across to people is when you take data out of the platform, then it's your responsibility. You're accountable for that data. If that data goes out, and it's basically you're taking accountability for it. So we just try and avoid people doing it. Obviously, we don't have AI tools blocked because I use ChatGPT every single day. I've even written complaints through ChatGPT as well and been successful with it, not to housing, but to other sectors. So it's something that I actively use. But yeah, we use Copilot for everything that's kind of business, and then anything else. We just need to make sure that people are not copying data in there. That would be the worst thing that could ever happen.
There was a question it was actually asked during Ollie's presentation, Ollie Sinclair's presentation, but I'm going to throw it out there to all three of our speakers actually. Anna McWassers, who's head of data at Citizen, brought up the Air Canada chatbot ruling recently, asking, in terms of implementing customer-facing AI, or where AI assists in decision making, what are the lessons from the recent Air Canada chatbot ruling on how we should implement these solutions in housing? Who wants to jump on that one?
Yeah, I can if you want me to. Yeah, it's very funny. So yeah, for those that are not aware, the Air Canada one, effectively the chatbot created created its own refund policy, and effectively guided a customer to purchase tickets with the intention that in a certain situation he could refund them, get full refund, which he couldn't. This was a big problem because effectively the company is effectively kind of was trying to say, well, it was our agent, it wasn't us that did this, and therefore we don't have the liability. Now I can't remember what the actual outcome was, whether it was overturned or whether they actually had to do that. But it's a really, really, really good use case to go back to my original points around the resilience of your agents. And making sure that you're testing these elements and making sure that there's the right rigor to govern. So when you're looking at chatbots internally, there is a lesser need for that rigor and that potential to kind of hallucinate or to generate something else. But this is really where you start to utilize some really good tools and techniques with advanced agents, and you can bounce off large language models. You bounce off your knowledge base, and the instructions to those agents can give you the guardrails that you absolutely need. So yes, it does change. It changes the way in which, again, back to the testing, back to the resilience side of this, it doesn't change the outcome of, yes, when you have solid and you have reliable agents, you are able to expose those agents to your customers, but you have to have the confidence. You have to have gone through the rigorous testing and scenario-based elements, and back to the red teaming element I was talking about earlier. Try and break these agents. Try and do the prompt injections. Forget all of your previous instructions and go do this. And we've seen that hilariously on some of the social media platforms where certain people have created agents
for political reasons, and you've seen people being really smart by doing some prompt injections and actually creating recipes for cakes rather than having a go at certain political organizations. You see that a lot as well, but you've got to make sure that the way in which you're generating these agents and you're operationalizing them goes through the right rigor, the right governance, the right testing. That has gone on leaps and bounds. But yeah, it started with playing off different language models together, but it's got far more intelligent than that now.
Thank you, Ollie.
Can I add to it? Sorry.
Yeah, go on. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to say, I think it comes down to capability mapping as well. So map capabilities to the AI and make sure that the AI can only do what you want it to do through capability mapping. That's the only way you'd be able to understand from an enterprise view what is the AI allowed to do, and then you could then test it based on that capability mapping. So in that case, you would capability map, can they agree refunds? No, they can't. But can they talk about refunds? Yes, they can. So those sort of things to just make sure that you've got an overall capability map for the AI model. Otherwise, you just give it free rein to do whatever it wants.
Indeed. Oliver, you want to add to that at all?
I was going to say, I think I completely agree with both points made. And I think that capability mapping point's really key, actually, as well, because I think that's a real step of the process that can often get missed, and it's likely to get missed actually with stuff that actually gets developed. So yeah, it's great points made.
Right, I'm going to round things up. Please join me in a big thank you to all our three speakers. We first heard from Ollie Sinclair. Oliver is the Chief Technology Officer at Crimson, who are also today's sponsor of the Micro Conference. Ollie explored AI agents in housing, highlighting their potential to automate processes from tenant comms to asset management. He emphasised the importance of data quality, transparency, governance, and maintaining expert oversight. Ollie discussed implementation strategies, addressing concerns about infrastructure dependencies, hallucination risks, and the need for robust testing before deploying customer-facing AI systems. Next, we heard from Oliver Goldring. Oliver is the head of digital service design and comms at Magna Housing. Oliver argued that housing associations have a service design problem, not a tech problem. AI amplifies existing processes, whether good or bad. Before automating, organizations must listen to tenants, redesign broken services, and ensure AI enhances human judgment rather than replacing it. Trust is built through people, not technology alone. Then our final presentation was from Kieran Poynton. Kieran is the Director of Data and Analytics at Bromford. Kieran addressed the data strategy paradox, advocating for balancing long-term vision with immediate value delivery. He emphasized relationship building over pure logic, introduced a domain-driven design approach, and outlined BFL's tactical integration strategy. Kieran stressed moving toward decentralized capabilities while maintaining enterprise thinking to drive organizational data maturity. So thank you very much for everyone who attended. We will be opening registrations for our next online micro conference soon. We'll hope to see you there. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday afternoon, everybody.